And welcome to another day of long-term care week. We are on day 4, and we have been having so much fun with our experts in long-term care. My name is Deneen Diamond. I am the lead for the Center of Excellence for Health, and we are celebrating long-term care all month long. And we had a beautiful event at Pine Grove last week with kiddos K-2 and 3-5. And we have our very impressive and exciting expert with us today, Morgan, who actually works at Pine Grove. So without further ado, I am going to introduce Morgan. Morgan Springer is the activity director of Pine Grove Nursing Home, and she's going to explain the importance of her role and what she does at the home. She will also explain what a typical day looks like and explore the career pathway that she has taken to be in the role where she is today. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Morgan.
All right, thank you, Deneen. So as Deneen said, my name is Morgan Springer, and I work at Pine Grove Nursing Home here in Fredericton. So a little bit about myself. Growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher from kindergarten all the way up till grade 12, and then that changed completely, and I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. But here I am in long-term care. The living person I most admire would be my best friend, Sam. She brought me out of my shell in high school, and I really haven't gone back since. She's confident, outgoing, and a super hard worker. She taught me to just be myself and let my personality shine and not care what other people think about me, as long as I love who I am. And I think that's a super important part in being an activity director, is letting your personality out. So for the most marked characteristics, I actually wasn't sure what my most marked characteristic was. So I actually put up a poll on my social media to see what my family and friends had to say about me. And one that was repeated a few times was my ability to connect with people and make them feel comfortable. I think that's super important in my role as an activity director as well, just because residents are coming from their homes that maybe they've lived in for 40 years or even more, their whole lives. They're coming to a different home. They're coming to a smaller home, one that they may have to share a room with a different person. So it's my job to make them feel comfortable, make them feel like their new home is their home. So motto I always go by is everything happens for a reason. I go by that every single day because in activities, you kind of have to go with the flow. Some days may not go as planned and other days may go perfectly as planned. So I just everything happens for a reason, and whatever happens, happens. A little bit more about me here, some personal skills. So some of these don't pertain to my job, but they're still little skills I have. So I have 2 daughters and a bonus daughter. So I have my daughter Aria is 1 and Kaya is 5. And then my stepdaughter Tiana, she's 13. So a lot of my time spent outside of work is with my family. And I actually have 4 dogs. So any spare time I may have is spent relaxing, traveling. We actually traveled to Florida this past summer as a family. We did the whole Disney thing. And I also like to make charcuterie boards in my spare time. So that kind of brings out the creativity in me that I didn't know I had until I actually started working in this position. So when we're not doing that, you probably can find me helping take care of newborn puppies, because my fiance and I actually started breeding dogs a few years ago. So we're super busy, not only at work, but outside of work as well. A little bit about my career. So as Deneen mentioned, I am the activity director at Pine Grove Nursing Home. I've been working in this position for 3 years and working in long-term care for about 5. I actually started working in long-term care as the rehab assistant. So after high school, I went to UNB for business. I did that for 2 years, and that was not for me. It was not something I enjoyed. So I wanted to help people. I wanted to get into healthcare. I took a program at Eastern College. It was occupational therapy and physiotherapy assistant, and I actually did my work placement here at Pine Grove. I fell in love with the place, the atmosphere. It felt like one big family with the residents, my coworkers, everything. It was so welcoming as soon as I got here. So I knew I didn't want to leave. As my work placement was coming to an end, the rehab position was actually coming up. The girl who was in rehab at the time was going off on maternity leave. So I applied for that job and got it. I was here for 1.5 years, temporary. And as that was coming to an end, the activity director position was opening up. And I had never worked in activities before, but I knew I wanted to work with the residents. My boss came and asked me if I would be interested in maybe testing it out for a little bit and then deciding if that's what I wanted to do. So I did that for a few weeks and loved it. I loved getting to spend the time with the residents and learning more about them than I already knew. I got to know them on a personal level because when you're in the nursing aspect of it, you're learning about the medical side of them, but in activities, you're getting to know them personally. And not only them, but their family members as well. So I accepted the job, and with that came I needed to do a course, an activity director course. So I'll talk a little bit about that coming up here. Some positives and negatives about the job. So there's a lot of positives to the job, and that would be spending time with the residents. As I said, getting to know them on a personal level, learning about their likes, their dislikes, learning about their hobbies, learning about their past, so their family life, what they did for work, how long they went to school for, because it's really interesting to see that it wasn't a big deal if they didn't go to school up until grade 12 or continue to college or university. At the time, that wasn't really, it was important to a certain extent, but not as important as it is now today. The most challenging part of my job, it's not really negative. I couldn't really find anything negative I found in my job. I really like everything I do, but the most challenging part is having to say goodbye to the residents when it's their time to go. The residents become very like a part of your family. They become grandparents to you. Even my daughter, I bring her in every other Saturday when I work. I'll bring her in for the morning and she gets to spend time with the residents and she gets really close with them as well. So when it's their time to go, it's really tough sometimes saying goodbye. Some important skills I thought you needed in order to be in this position are your communication skills. You're not only communicating with the residents each and every day, you're communicating with your staff members. You're communicating with the residents' families, and you're communicating with people outside in the community. Because you are planning for them to come in and entertain the residents. So you might contact dancers, you might contact petting zoos. So those type of people, you're communicating with multiple people throughout your day. So it's very important to be able to talk to them and have the communication you need. Organization is another very important one. You do a lot throughout your day as an activity director. I'm not only doing activities with the residents, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work and being able to organize my day, knowing I need to know what time my activities are, what I need. I may have to plan a bigger event, and that takes time and organization because I may need to get things ready ahead of time, have supplies ready. And that comes along with time management. So managing your time as an activity director is very important because, as I said, it's not just about the activities. It's the behind the scenes work, the decorating, the planning the bulletin boards, planning events. You have certain times a day you're doing activities. You have certain things that need to be done certain times of day, such as admissions. Admissions, when someone gets admitted here at Pine Grove, we have 48 hours to complete their admission. So between the activities, the planning, I also need to be able to complete that on time as well. And another one is creativity. So I never thought I was creative until I ended up in this position. That was one thing I was nervous about starting the position, was being able to decorate the home, being able to complete the bulletin boards. I was never a creative person. My sister always took that skill. But then once I started, my creative juices started flowing. I was able to plan events. I'm creating programs for the residents to do. So that's another very important one. As for relationships, like I said during the communication part, you're in contact, you're working with a lot of other people, so relationships are very important. You need to have relationships with the families, the residents in general, and your coworkers. And I also have an activity director assistant actually that I work with. So it's not just me. He's here two days a week with me. So having a good relationship with him and being able to communicate with him is important as well. Looking back, one thing I wish I would have known about this job, that it's not just about having fun. I mentioned there's a lot of office work to be done on this on the side. So it's not just about coming in and playing with the residents all the time. So career path. So if you love to have fun, love to interact with a variety of different people and personalities, and do have a creative side to you, then this is definitely the job for you. It's so much fun. I'm able to be my complete self. I'm able to show my weird side, my sense of humor, play around with the residents. The schedule can vary. So on any normal week, I will work Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. And then the following week, I'll work Tuesday to Saturday. So I work every other Saturday, 8 to 4. And then sometimes my schedule may change a bit. I may have to do a 12 to 8 shift because I will have a program in the evenings. Like in the summer, we do a bonfire with the residents, and I can't do a bonfire in the middle of the day. So that's when the evenings come into play. And we've also done a drive-in movie theater that we do outside. So that's also in the evenings. And then when it comes to volunteers, I sometimes have to come in the evening to do volunteer orientation because of a lot of our volunteers are in high school, so they're not able to come in during the week from 8 to 4. So your schedule can definitely change. So for my education, I had mentioned that I took an occupational therapy and physiotherapy assistant diploma at Eastern College. It was a 2-year program, and that's how I got into long-term care. And then as for becoming an activity director, I took an 8-week course that was online. It was 75 hours in total to become, get my activity director certificate. So for continuing education, there's options to take additional courses, like for documentation. A lot of residents in long-term care do have Alzheimer's and dementia, so sometimes it's important to take those courses to learn a bit about their behaviors and different things about the disease. To stay current in my industry, I do a lot of professional development. So we do yearly courses online that we have to kind of refresh our memory about everyday general knowledge about the residents. Like feeding. When you're in long-term care, sometimes you have to do things to help other positions in the nursing home, and sometimes that can be feeding the residents. So the course will just take you through just kind of how to feed them, knowing their different diets and that kind of thing. And then hand washing techniques, because it's very important. And then different courses like putting on protective equipment when we are in an outbreak, and taking that protective equipment off so you're not spreading the germs around. We also must keep up to date on our CPR training, and that is renewed every 3 years. All right, a typical day as an activity director. So there's never a typical day. Every day is different. I follow the same kind of structure of my day, but who knows? When I go in the morning, I don't know what's going to happen that day besides the activities I need to complete. So my typical day starts at 8 a.m. I get here, I get to my office, and I check my emails, answering any emails I need to do, maybe check my voicemails if I have voicemails left for me. And then I will grab any mail and newspapers that need to be delivered and head out and deliver those to the residents. During that time, I'll stop by and say good morning to them, see how their morning is going, see how their evening went, see who's all around, sit and chat. And then I will go check in with the nurses. So every day I have to check in to make sure I'm not missing out on anything that maybe happened the night before, or even during the weekends when I'm not here. So if any residents have passed away, if there's any residents who have been admitted to the hospital, or any residents who have had a change in status, it's important for me to know that in case I need to change any of my activities, especially if there are people on isolation for a sickness, maybe the flu, COVID, all depends on that. So I'll find out all the important details and then head back to my office. And that's when I do any work that may need to be done. So if I need to plan the activity for the day, I'll get that all set up. I will then do any decorating if I have. I'm constantly working on the calendar for the next month. So as I'm doing 1 month's activities, I'm planning the next month. So I'll do that during that time. Kind of any behind the scenes work that needs to be done, I'll get that completed in that time. And then usually it's time for our morning activity. So our morning activities run about a half an hour. We keep them short in the morning just because the residents sometimes are getting up late. Some of them may be going back to bed. It all just depends. So our morning activities are usually our exercise program activities, just to get them up for the day, get their bodies moving, get them active, kind of keep them awake as much as we can. And it runs about half an hour. I'll announce it, I'll get the area ready, and then I'll bring out our residents to the area. I will then complete the activity, and usually I'll stick around with the residents after. We sing songs, we just chit chat for a little bit, and then I'll get them ready for lunch, take them back to their rooms, whatever they want to do during that time. Then I'll head back to the office, do my charting, and then it's lunch. When I come back from lunch is when the one-on-one activities with residents happen. So one-on-ones are very important. It's not all about just group activities. It's one-on-one activities as well. So there will be some residents that don't want to do group activities, and I cannot make them do group activities. That is their decision. And we do have a few residents that don't want to leave their room, but I do invite them to the group activities anyways, but that's when I do one-on-one visits with them. So when I'll spend time and I'll get to know the residents. Sometimes we play card games, sometimes we'll read books together, I'll do their nails, maybe do their hair, just spend that quality time with them. And then it'll be time to get ready for our afternoon activity. So our afternoon activities usually run a bit longer, so they're anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half. And this is when our entertainment will come in. So in the afternoons, we have singers who come in. We sometimes have dancers. As you can see in the picture, we do fun events, and it's mostly in the afternoon. So this past summer, they did a cotton candy cart. We'll do parties. Each month, we have a monthly birthday party to celebrate all the birthdays that month. One thing that I started up when I got into the activity position was theme parties once a month. Sometimes that will look like a 50s party we've done before. We've done a trip to Jamaica where we've played music and had a Jamaican snack and kind of pretended like we were on the beach a little. I did a carnival one year, so we actually had a clown come in. She made balloon animals. So the afternoon is our bigger activities. And then by that time, at the end of that, it's time to clean up, put everything back to normal, take the residents back to their room so they can relax the rest of the afternoon and get ready for supper. And then that's when I'll go do my end of the day charted who was at activities, what we did, and then I get to head home for the day. So as you can see, as an activity director, I don't always just work with the residents either. So a few times a year, we do what I call spirit weeks, where we'll do dress up weeks with the staff members, and the residents can join in as well. So the picture shown here is actually of our Halloween one this past year. And coming up in March, we're going to do another one. So I'm in the middle of planning that right now, thinking of theme days for the staff to do. And you may also notice I have bike rides on here too. So Pine Grove has what's called a duet bike. The residents sit in the front in a wheelchair, and we sit at the back, and it's battery operated, so we can go up hills. I like to take them across the walking bridge, so I leave, go behind the delta, take the walking trail, and head up to the walking bridge, go across there. We've taken them to the art gallery. It kind of gives them a sense of independence because they're stuck in this building all day, every day. They don't get to go out like they normally used to run errands. So being able to get out on the bike and seeing downtown or really anywhere like they used to makes them super, super happy. And it's so nice being able to spend that quality time with them as well. Activities are super important to residents, not just to keep them busy, but also to help with unwanted behaviors. So many of our residents who deal with Alzheimer's and dementia may have behaviors that come with the disease. Everyone's different. But these behaviors could include agitation, anxiety, yelling. So as an activity director, I am trying to help those residents with those unwanted behaviors by doing different activities like sensory stimulation. We do baby therapy. We have babies here, not actual babies, they're dolls, but they look like real babies. And many of the residents think they are real babies, so they take care of them, and it helps calm them down. We do music therapy when they're getting agitated, for them to just listen to the music. And many of our residents completely change when they hear music. They could be having a terrible day. Music comes on, something that brings them back to when they were younger, and their mood will do a complete 180. So it's so rewarding being able to help them change like that, change their mood around. And helping their unwanted behaviors also stops them from having to give them medication for those behaviors. If I can help them with activities versus giving them medication, it's way better. And the family members appreciate that way more as well. And some of the residents don't have family members. So I become like their family. They are able to chat with me. And just share their stories with me. If they're having any problems, I'm open. They can tell me, and just chit chat, just help them, make them feel welcome here at their new home. So some career advice. So waking up every morning, I'm excited to go to work. It's kind of, I say that, it's like a vacation away from my home. I'm constantly busy at home, but it's a different kind of busy at work. So it's my vacation away from my kids. I'm excited to come have fun with the residents. I love the thrill of planning something and watching it go off, and watching the residents have fun with it. And some ideas don't always go as planned, but that's when I learn. I'm learning every day just as much as the residents are learning every day as well. Knowing that if I'm having fun, they're definitely having fun as well. So I also want to bring up any volunteer opportunities. So volunteers, we've lost a lot of our volunteers during COVID. We don't have as many as we used to. So we do have some volunteer opportunities available. We're always looking for volunteers. So if you are interested in volunteering here at Pine Grove, I have attached my email there. Send me an email. I will get back to you with a volunteer application. I will go through that, and then I will contact you and we can plan out all the details. But we're always looking for volunteers to do one-on-ones, music programs for the residents. And on the days I'm not here, Sundays, the residents, I often hear from nursing, they're bored. They have nothing to do, and that's when their behaviors are coming out. So we often look for volunteers to come in on Sundays when I'm not here, or when other volunteers aren't able to come in. Yeah, if you're ever considering a job in long-term care, I highly recommend the activity director position. It's such a fun job, and I couldn't see myself anywhere else. Yeah, thank you for joining today and listening to me talk about my awesome career in long-term care.
Awesome, Morgan. That was lovely. And I'm like jealous of your job because you get to play all day, which is so fun. And you get to plan out activities and keep people active and really make a difference in their everyday living, which is what your job is all about. And you spoke about volunteering. And this morning when we were talking about recruitment into long-term care and the importance for us to have folks go into long-term care, the volunteer piece is really important, because when you are applying for different positions, or even when you're applying to go into health or social care degrees or diplomas, whatever that looks like, that volunteer piece really does set you apart from others. So I do highly recommend, just like Morgan, that if this is something that you want to dabble in or you're not sure, I can tell you from experience that volunteering is probably the best way to kind of see if this is for you, because being in a long-term care home is not just being at work, which Morgan spoke about. It's about being part of a family and really understanding that you are there to support the residents, but you're there to really make it a home. and be part of their family. And I will say that a lot of people say that when you work in a home, you have, 52 sets of grandparents all of a sudden for your kids. And they love to see students. They love to see high school students. They also love to see little ones. But certainly if this is something that you're interested in, Morgan put her email there. You can reach out to me if it's something that you want to maybe go try out for a day. We certainly would suggest that you do that if that's something that you're interested in. So I think I have a couple questions though, Morgan.
Perfect.
Before you leave, you talked about individual events and you talked about or individual activities and you talked about group activities. And I'm wondering about one, which one do you like the best? And two, how do you motivate residents to be part of group activities? Because we know that social wellness is so important. So what does that look like in your role?
I think I missed the first part of your question. It cut out.
Oh, I'm sorry. What
No,
do you
that's
like?
okay.
Do you like individual activities or group activities?
Okay, I like the group activities the best. I like getting everyone together, not only for the activity, but for the social part. So get the residents to meet other residents, because oftentimes they're in their rooms. They don't get to social. I mean, they can socialize, but they don't always come out of their rooms unless it's for activities. So they get to meet other residents, and sometimes they form those connections and they become super close friends. And then they'll come out of their room and go visit their friend maybe they met at an activity. Every day we have two ladies here who are the best of friends now. They hang out every day. They didn't know each other before coming in here. And they're best friends. They don't leave each other's side anymore. So it's really nice to see that. As for motivating residents to come to activities, I am a complete weirdo when it comes to this. So I just try to make it fun for them. I let them know what's happening. I'll joke around with them, say, why don't you come just check it out? And if you don't like it, you can leave, type of thing. And we actually had a resident when he first came here, he would not go to any activities. I'd ask him every single day, morning and afternoon, just come see the activity. And he'd say, no, no, no. Eventually he came to one activity and now he comes to every single one. So it's sometimes I just have to sit down and just sit and convince them to come. And just let them decide if in the end if they want to come. And then sometimes I'll pick on them after and say, well, I didn't see you at this activity. I hope to see you tomorrow. And they usually just laugh at me and continue on their day.
But again, just showing them that attention that they need maybe to go out of their shell. And I love the story of the best friends because I think it's really important when you are getting older. Sometimes that social piece of our holistic wellness does go to the side. So being in a home, the more homes that I'm in, I'm like, you know what? I can't wait for this. Someone's going to plan my activities. Someone's going to plan my meals. Because there's a lot of good things that happen in homes and we're really trying to expose students to that. So thank you so much, Morgan.
My mom always says, oh, sorry. I was going to say, my mom always tells me, Morgan, make sure you put me in a home. I want friends. I want to be doing stuff when I'm older. I'm like, okay.
Exactly. Absolutely. And you don't have to plan it yourself. Yeah, I love it.
Right.
Well, we just want to say thank you so much for the presentation, but also thank you for the work that you do at Pine Grove. And we really appreciate all the time and energy you place into the Center of Excellence for Health, but also into your work. So without further ado, I'll sign off from the Center of Excellence for Health. We have one more session left tomorrow morning at 11:30 with NBCC. So please join us tomorrow morning, and really excited to finish off the week with a bang. So Morgan, thank you so much. We really appreciate you and have a beautiful day.
Thanks.